Oh yes, you guessed it. Today we're going to do a timing belt on a 02 Volkswagen Bug. This one's been made in Mexico. Yeah. And yeah, so it's October the 8th. And you're gonna see some of my next videos all jumbled up because I had trouble with my computer. Anyway, let's get right into it here. Let's get started. Now the first thing you're gonna do is take these these wheels off. You have to get these little plastic covers off, and it would help if you had a pick. And I don't know why Volkswagen's done this. I'd like to see you take them off the side of the road. Anyway, get your tire off. Hopefully you don't have a lock nut in here. They look like 17 mil 11/16. And you can see we have a stupid locking wheel nut. So first thing we're going to do is dig through the car and find it. Okay, I actually found it in the trunk, and it kind of looks like this weird contraption anyway. I'm not going to bore you. Take the tire off and we'll go from there. Okay, now you need to get rid of the splash panel. And I'll see if I can get this to focus. It's got these weird clips on here. There might be a special tool to take them off, but just pry down like that, both sides. You should be able to get them off. They should just push back on after, by the look, if you don't bust anything. Okay, there's one there, and the Torx. Looks like there's a couple missing here. It's a Torx. Let's see, T25 here, and this clip here. I'm not sure how it comes out yet. We're gonna tackle that in a second. Okay, this little unique clip here is just slotted. It pulls in like this. Watch, see? Okay. Same with those ones right up there. It just pulls in. You can see how that goes together. Okay. Now we'll get this one off up here, and then we'll get rid of this. Okay, guys and girls, gals, I should say. In order to get this pulley off, you're gonna need a. I'm not sure yet how to take that off. We're gonna take the pulley off first. You're going to need a 6 mil Allen key wrench driver, one that fits in there good. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the serpentine belt first, but I want to make sure that I had the necessary tools to take this off. Now if you end up having to take this crank bolt off, she's a 12.75 or 19 mil. Okay guys, the serpentine belt's really easy to get off. It's a double-sided one. It's a 15 mil on the back side like this, and just pull. It's not that hard of tension. So now this car has 270,000 kilometers on it. It's never had a timing belt, never had a serpentine belt, never have a water pump either. We're just going to go ahead and replace that serpentine belt because we had it off. Volkswagen recommends that you change the serpentine belt in this engine at 150, so it's going to be interesting to see what the serpentine belt looks like. Anyway, we're going to take this shroud off here too. I think there's some bolts under here, under the badging, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yes, and we always recommend that you change the water pump because it's belt driven, but this customer, for whatever reason, doesn't want to do that. So maybe it's just, I think it's a financial thing, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're not going to get into that. So it's not hard to do. So if it starts leaking, or if I get in there, we're going to take it back apart. Well, stop and get parts tomorrow or today somehow and put a water pump on it. But we're going to check this out. They recommend that you replace the cam seal, water pump, timing belt, and tensioners, timing belt tensioners and pulleys when you're in there. Some of these motors are interference fit. This happens not to be the interference fit motor. And there's another way to identify that. The water pump, it either has plastic vanes on the back or steel. And one of those two will be interference motor and the other one won't be. But if you're not going to take it off, you're not sure, your best bet is to call your dealer and give them the VIN. They'll give you a rundown on the car. This one's, like I said, it's from Mexico. So, okay, let's get in there. Okay, to get this top shield off, it's a 10 mil bolt right back here. Okay, with the 10 mil bolt out of there, nut, pull straight up on this on both sides with two hands, one here, and just give it a good yank. That'll come up, and you should be able to pull that out. You can see where it sits. When you put this back on, spray some oil or grease in there, it'll go back on. It just sits on these two little pins. Okay. Okay, first things first, we're going to knock this bottom pulley off, just in case I don't have the tools to remove it here. We're not going to touch this yet. We're going to take the pulley off first, and then we're going to take the cover off, and then we're going to find our timing marks. You don't want to touch that just yet. So with your 6mm Allen key driver, and I got a 3/8. This thing is older than the hills. Anyway, you might want to use a ratchet. I'm not going to because I'm gonna. Because I can, I guess. Take all 4 out, obviously. Now, I probably would have been better with an extension on that. Anyway, you get that. Now, I should be able to just to hit that and pull it off. Alright, let me get a hammer. Okay, now if you have a rubber mallet or a hammer, that's a good idea to use it here. You don't want to bend this all the crap. Work it. Okay, there we go. And you can see we have some kind of fluid here. Maybe it's just old. Okay, so we don't need to touch the crank bolt, but it'd be still handy to have when you want to line it up. Okay, let's get the front cover off now. Okay, just so you can see where I am here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10mm. There's one hiding up under here under the engine mount. We're gonna have to get rid of this in a minute. Let's take these 5 out. Next, now you may want to crack them by hand, just in case they break. Well, you get a feel for it if they want to break. Now you probably want to use a short 10mm socket because you're not going to have enough clearance in here. Or you can use a wrench, but you're not going to get that started off with a wrench. You need to start it with a socket first. Okay, in order to get this top bolt 10mm out, we're going to remove the engine mount next, but we can pull this little cover off and have a look at our condition of our timing belt first. Now, look at that. With a block of wood on your jack, that's, you know, this firewood, but anyway, a 2x6 would work better, a chunk. And just take up the slack between the pan. Just like that. This has got a skid plate. Volkswagen put skid plates on their oil pan, so that's a good idea. Take up slack, and we're going to come up top, and we're going to remove, hopefully, the top motor mount. Looks like a 17 here, one on the back, 2 right there, and we're going to pull this whole unit off first. Sometimes I got some hiding behind here, so we'll have to have a look. I might have to take these jugs out of the way. Hopefully not. Okay, the 2 top bolts on top of the mount to the engine are 19mm, and these 2 bottom ones here are 17mm, and there could be another one in there. We'll find out in a second. Now I'm going to unplug the overflow coolant sensor just to get that out of the way so I don't bust that off the side of the tank. I'm trying not to take this stuff out of the way if I can help it. And I'll get that last bolt out of there. Okay guys, there's a 13mm bolt right up under here underneath the washer jug. Remove that. Alright, you should be able to get your fingers in there like this. These aren't rotted at all, they're coated with some kind of coating. Once you get this out, you should be able to pull that mount right out of there. You should be able to wiggle this out of there, out to the front here like this. And there you go. Now is a good time to check out your motor mount, make sure it's good. Okay, so we're going to jack the motor up with that motor mount off, up a little bit, and you're going to feel when the motor has some resistance coming up. You want to stop right there. Now, I got a 5/8 in through here. It's probably about a 16mm. Anyway, there's 3 bolts. One from the top, and then we're going to let the motor down, and then we're going to get the other one from the other 2 from the bottom. Just like that. We're going to let our motor down so we can get the other 2 out. Now, just be careful how fast you let it down. I'm going to have to use 2 hands for this. Now, you'll see it when it stops, and that's when you want to stop. Right about there. Okay, let's go underneath. Okay, with the motor lowered down, you can see one's accessible there. And let's see if I can jam the camera up here without shaking you guys too much. The other one is right up underneath that mount right there in this little hole. Okay, once you crack them loose, these ones are coming up fairly easy. You can use your fingers. There's one, there's one right up under here. We may have to get a short 5/8 onto her, yep. Okay, short 5/8, and I'll show you where I am. And I got the tail of my swivel ratchet hanging out back because that's the only way you're going to get in there. Now with that bolt undone, you're not going to be able to pull it out all the way because it's going to hit the frame. And you might be able to jack the motor up enough to get it out, but you should be able to just leave it half pulled out and pull this mount out of there with some wiggling. I think I'm going to have to jack the motor though. Okay, with the motor jacked up, remove this bolt. It'll slide past the frame now. And we're going to have some wiggling to do to get the rest of this out. And you can see it doesn't want to come off. I think I have to take the top part of the cover off to get this mount right out. Let's go back up top. Okay, we're going to move this inspection cover, or whatever you want to call it. And there's two clips. There's one here, one on the back side. And I believe that's all there is. Let's get this one hand. Okay, come back to it just a minute. Now I got my light out and just pull straight out on it. This hose gets in the way. I'll tell you what to look for when you're looking at, if you got a Beetle, you're not sure how many miles on it. Sometimes the mechanic will put a sticker on this cover when they changed it last, the mileage. That's a good idea. You can see the cracks in this one on the back side. I hope this turns out. This belt was ready to, there it is. This belt was ready to fly apart here. 270,000, it's like 100,000 overdue on it. So let's pull that cover out. You're probably gonna have to undo this hose right here to pull that cover straight up. Okay, this hose has to come off here. Anyway, I think it's an evap or some kind of vacuum hose or evap, I'm not sure. I don't really care. Anyway, get that hose out of the way and we'll pull this cover straight out of there. Okay, with that, it's an evap hose because it goes into that part, which is your evaporative system. Anyway, that's the diagnostic port right there. If you're looking for it, it's always marked with green. You got these hoses pulled far enough, you should be able to pull that cover right out of there, straight up. Okay, now we're going to get rid of this belt tensioner here because it's in the way of the bottom cover. Sorry, I got a step ahead. I'll pull the motor mount through the top now without that cover on there. You're going to do some wiggling to get it out of there. It should come out through the top though. And I'm going to pull it straight out this way. Okay, I got it jammed up in there. Take your mount off, for your belt tension off first. It's going to be a lot easier to pull that out. Okay, there's 3 13mm or, well, 1/2 inch is probably going to be too tight. One there, and one right there. Get those out. Okay, here's a little tip for you guys. When you do a car like this or any other job that has a lot of bolts, as you're taking it apart, group them. So you got motor mount bolts, motor mount to block bolts, tensioner bolts. You keep going across and group them in piles. Okay, next thing we're going to do is, you can see that it's loose in there now. So we're going to take out this 6mm or just loosen it off because this bracket kind of hides on top of the tensioner. Okay, just loosen it will work. Just pull it out of the way. You should be able to grab your tensioner. And it's just kind of hiding under there. You can see it's got 3 bolts on it. Now's a good time to check your tensioners. Get that a spin. You hear that? Hang on. Okay. I hope this camera picks up this noise. You hear that? The bearing's just starting to go. It's not hard to come off, so I'm just going to inform the customer of it. And that's funny, eh? The car's made in Mexico, but the parts are from Germany. Anyway. My bad. With that like that, this mount seems to want to drop out the bottom. Just a bunch of wiggling going on with the top cover and that out of the way. Anyway, let's get that 10mm that's left in that top cover and then we'll pull the rest of that off. Okay guys, before my battery runs out, the next step is your timing marks. And let me get a flashlight here. The crankshaft ones are a little bit hard to see, but I'll show you the cam first. Okay guys, this next part we're going to do the timing marks. You got to make sure you're right on the money or you're going to bend some valves, and I warned you. Okay, I'll show you how to double check this. Alright, the top timing marks on this bug, see that hang on, see that OT right there? There's a line right there. Now, you got to stand in the right spot and you can see it. right there. That line marks up with that. Okay, and now on the standard bug, the mark will be there's a port on the top of the transmission here. The automatic is on over here, and it's going to be hard to see. The camera is going to pick it up. There's going to be this little circle, and this second I'll get back to you guys when I just looked at this. Hang on. This is going to be very hard to see. On the transmission there is a mark, and this one's painted blue. Now let's see if I can get this to focus in for you guys. I can see it, but the camera might not get it where I want it to focus here. You see that blue mark on the transmission right there? Now there's a 0 right underneath there. Now I'm going to get this stupid thing to focus. And let's see. Oh, had it. And it's very hard to see right there. That 0 and that mark have to be dead on. Okay, now I'm going to go back real slowly. You can see where I found the mark. It's hiding. Yeah, I had to pry these hoses back to see it. You may want to take some of this crap out of the way if you're doing it at home. Like some of this will come out. With that coil pack out of there, you should be able to see it really good. I don't want to touch that. Okay, so the second thing I've done is, because you can see that it's hard to line up, I made my own marks over here. Now I've put marks on 2 teeth, one there, and one there, one there. And what this is going to do is let me make sure, double check it, make sure I have it right on. I'm going to use the mark underneath the coil, and I'm going to mark those 2 back on the mark there. Okay, so the next step is to loosen the tensioner off, and you may have to have a special tool for this, but we're going to try to do it without it. We're going to check the belt deflection first to see what we're supposed to have on this. What I mean by belt deflection is, we're going to go back down in here. Oh, hang on guys, sorry, I'm getting kind of old for this. I need a hoist in a garage. Okay, I'm going to take the longest part of the timing belt. We're going to grab it, and we're going to push on it. And you can see how much belt deflection we have. And you can see that tensioner up there moving, so I may have some trouble with this. We're going to take note of which way that, here we go, the battery's almost dead. We're going to take note of which way this tensioner lets go and take the belt off it. Okay, just to go over this really quick because I think it's very important. Don't hold me responsible if you put this together and the time marks aren't right and you bend your valves. Anyway, even though this one's a non-interference fit, it's going to vary. This one says OT. It's got an arrow that lines up with that, and the reason I know that that's the timing mark, besides the looking at it, that's the only marks on it, is that when this is lined up with that, when you look down the side of that transmission, you're going to see a hole cut into the side of the tranny, a square hole, and on the flywheel there's a 0. Okay, and on the transmission there's going to be a casting bump. It looks like an arrow, and mine's painted like kind of a teal blue color, and it lines up exactly with that. So there's no way you could be out unless when you put your belt on you don't do your job right. So, and I put marks down here too besides that. Just a little bit of insurance, and I'll show you once I get the belt how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to double check it and even triple check it before we're done. Now this cam tensioner looks to be like you have to have a special tool. You can see there's 1, 2, 3 holes in it, and this weird horse-shaped shoe thing. I'm going to remember the position of this because I'm probably going to have to come back in here and turn this inner piece this way, or wind it up. It's spring tensioned, right? So, and this is a 13 mil. I'm going to loosen it off, and it's probably going to fall out of the way, or not. It's like so. And you can see the centerpiece moving the other opposite way. And it's just I suspected that was going to do that. This piece right here, I'm pointing at, it's rotating it's rotating clockwise. So when you put it back, you're going to have to turn that. And I don't have a special tool to tension it up, so you're going to have to turn it by probably a small pair of water pump pliers. You can see how it rotates. When we go to tighten the tension on this, we're going to rotate that into the belt, and we're going to make sure we got the slack out of it. Okay, so you don't have to take this nut right off either, and I recommend not taking it off, because if this thing falls apart, you're going to be in serious hurt. Anyway, let's back that off. Now we're going to come up here and pull our belt off. You can probably get a screwdriver on it now. It doesn't matter about this one. Kind of like that. I'm doing this one-handed, so usually this would happen faster. It might be easier to knock it off the water pump down here first. Yeah, it will be. Okay. You should have a look at your water pump to make sure it doesn't have a mark on it, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It's not balanced or anything, so. Okay. Get your belt out of there. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at this and I'll show you why we're changing this. And boy, this guy is lucky it didn't fly apart. Look at the cracks in that. Wow. You can just see how wore it is. Okay, get your new belt. We're going to compare the length of it. Okay, so what we're going to do with both these belts, we're going to make sure they're the same. You can do it this way. So that's exactly the same length. Okay, put that aside. I'm going to get the timing belt. We're going to do the same thing because I want to make sure that it's not too long before we even start. I can see, now it might stretch a little bit, the old one, so that's pretty close. Same thing. Now, we're going to have a look at the teeth. This has got square, roundish ones. We're going to make sure these are the same. And they are. And if you're not sure, you can even put them in side by side. Side by each, like this. Tabernacle. Anyway, just like that. You can make sure that they're equal distance apart. You want to make sure this is the exact same belt. It looks good. You never usually have a problem, but you never know. Some of the older Chrysler 2.5s, 2.2s were kind of different if you had a turbo. Anyway, okay, we're going to reinstall now. First, we're going to check our water pump and tensioner. Now, we're at this point, we're going to look up top. We're going to inspect from the top for any cam seal leaking or anything else. Well, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to flip you guys upside down a little bit here. And I'm going to, just because I'm laying out the wrong way, I'm going to give my water pump a spin. And I don't feel any roughness at all. You don't want to feel any roughness, and you don't want any end shaft play. I can see where my hand is. I'm grabbing it, I'm wiggling it. This one looks good. And there's no signs of green antifreeze that have dried up. Now, your tensioner, I'm going to do the same thing. And it sounds good. And I just noticed it's got a tab on the back side. So that's going to be good for reinstall. Oh, I'm upside down from you guys. Sorry about the camera angle, guys. There's a little tab on the back side here. And that actually moves that back and forth. So we should be able to tighten this up. And then we should be able to rotate that. That'll help. And we'll see in a second. Okay, so we're going to reinstall our belt. And normally I like to reinstall it on the back side, which meaning the opposite side from the tensioner, and make sure this side was tight. But this has got a messed up tension on it, so I'm going to have a hard time with that. I'm going to have to use two hands here. Maybe I'll get the tripod. I like to install the back side of the belt first, and when I do it, I take the tension out of it by slightly turning this camshaft this way, ever so slightly, like half a tooth. And then when I get it on, I like to tighten that up first and then tighten the tensioner. You always take the slack out of the back side of the belt first before you tighten your tensioner up. And then you come back, you can do a couple rotations of the engine and you check your timing again. Make sure it's dead on before you even try to start it. Let me get the tripod going here. Now I hope this turns out, guys. I'm going to try to reinstall my belt my normal way. I hope this works. I hope this turns out for you guys. Yeah, put it on the bottom first, and I'm going to hold the slack out of the belt going up the back side. And I didn't actually turn the camshaft this time, but you get the idea. And I probably won't be able to put it back on the tensioner the way it is because of that lip on it. But that's the normal way I would do it. But this one's being stubborn. So I may have to take the tensioner right off. I didn't want to do this, and I don't recommend doing it. But I can't get my tension for what I want. Don't lose any pieces, for God's sakes. Oh, like that washer. Okay, got a nut and a washer on the outside of that. And then lift it off. It probably fits in somewhere. Yeah, not too bad. Alright. Reinstall. Make sure it's sitting down where it's supposed to be. Alright. I'll put a tensioner. I'm going to hook it in the belt first. This is a pain. Okay. Man, I messed that up. This is not fun. I thought this video was going to be fun. Anyway, guys, I might have to put it the other way first. It is being stubborn. Anyway, now I just have to make sure that this contraption right here is where it's supposed to be, and it isn't. This notches it has to fit in as it sits in the block to get the correct tension. And I hope you guys can see that I'm doing it with my fingers here. I'm pulling it down. It has to be on the back side. So like that. Okay? Now I'm going to put the nut back on it. Washer, 13mm nut. Now we're going to have a closer look at that belt tensioner, make sure I got that on there right. Okay, I don't know how this is going to turn out. The back side behind that tensioner, there's a little hole, frost plug hole. That little tail fits in there. If you have to take yours off, and I hope I can zoom in for you guys. You can see that little tail. Let's see. Terrible camera footage. Sorry guys. You can kind of see it there. It's sitting in that hole right there. That's where it has to go. Okay, I hope this turns out, guys. I got the camera wedged in a hose here. Okay, so I try to get my hand out of the way. See this little lever on the back side? I push that up with my one finger, and I'm going to turn this. I'm going to pull up on that lever. I'm going to turn this to tension it. Okay, so I might have to get the water pumps on it. This will, and if you get too much tension, you're going to hear a belt whine. But you know, I got pizza in the oven, so I have to do this really quick. Okay, up, and then pull this down. Now, if you had the right tool, we'd have this trouble. Okay, right about there. And I'm going to tighten this up. Hopefully get my hands out of your way. And we should be good. I'm trying to remember where the thing was at first. So. Okay, I'm just going to tighten her up. I'm going to check belt deflection. Alright, there. That's snug enough. We should be able to check it. Okay. So, I'm going to check my belt deflection. Could be a little tighter. So what I like to do now is rock this engine back and forth, and we're going to check our realignment, check our marks. You could even turn it over. That's where your 12.75 comes in, and a long extension. You put it on the bottom of the crank bolt like that, and then you rock them. You're going to go one revolution around. Okay? So I'm just going to turn the motor around one revolution. If you have your spark plugs out, this could be a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to bring it back on my marks. Oh, too far. Okay, we need to check our marks again, and be very careful. If you feel anything binding when you go around, then you might have your belt way out and you could be touching your valves. Now I'm going to bring my marks back, my homemade marks back, and then we're going to go check the crankshaft, camshaft, and then the crankshaft mark. Right there. Okay, so now we're going to come back up. We're going to check our camshaft mark, and you have to go around once more. Okay, here's something worth noting. Your crankshaft will go around 2 revolutions for every revolution of the cam, so you gotta go around twice, and we'll put it back up on the marks. Okay, double checking my marks. I can see right now that I'm out a few teeth, and that could be catastrophic if you're gonna start it or even turning the motor over. It's out a tooth. You see the marks right there, my line's right there, so I need to be on this one right here, and where you can see you go right here, it doesn't line up, so I need to go back over. And now there's a way to jump your timing belt with a drill bit, but I'm not going to show you how to do that. I don't agree with it. It stretches the belt too much. Okay, so I'm going to have to release my tension, take the belt back off, and do it again. Guys, that's a perfect example of why you always double check your timer marks. Yeah, so we're going to line it back up. Probably be tomorrow. We're losing light here when we'll go from there. Okay, I feel a little bit like shade tree mechanic. The timing marks, now that we come back from commercial, are all lined up. Anyway, we're going to rotate this clockwise because the tensioner is on the other side there. We're going to take the slack out of the front part of the belt, which I mean over, you get my hand in the picture here. Here, we're going to take the slack out of this side because the tensioner is on the other side. So you want to rotate clockwise, and we'll just take the slack out of here, and then we're going to adjust our tensioner up and go from there. Okay, so I don't have a special pair of yes, Mickey. Anyway, horses in the background. I'm going to grab hold of it with a pair of channel locks, and we're going to rotate this counterclockwise, put belt tension on, then we're going to tighten that 13 mil bolt up. I'm going to have to probably shut you guys off of this. Anyway, you can see it. It's into the crank now. Anyway, we're going to put tension on that, and then we'll get right back to you. Okay, once you have the correct tension, go ahead and tighten your belt up, tensioner up, and then we're going to check for belt deflection. There is a rule of thumb, but I can't remember what it is. I just go by feel. So maybe one of you can tell me. I think it's quarter inch over a certain amount of travel, and that looks too loose to me. So I'm going to tighten that up a bit more, and we'll get back at you. Now at this point, you could probably go ahead and put your bottom pulley on, just so the belt doesn't fly off, and start it up. This isn't an interference fit motor, so you should be able to tell it right away if you got your belt on wrong. Yeah, and redo your hose. You might have to put this hose back on to get it going. Anyway. Okay guys, this is going to be the first startup since the belt installed. Hopefully things go good. Alright, there you have the Volkswagen timing belt repair. If you like this kind of stuff, or other stuff I get up to around here on the farm, please subscribe. And remember to comment and always rate. It lets me know what you guys like. If I see too many negatives, I won't do anything. What do you guys think about putting tracks under one of these? I think that would look cool. Okay, talk to you guys later.